it's not only about presenting and creating art, it's also about creating networks, relationships and links between Austria and the United Kingdom, between Europeans. And I think this has become so important, especially in politically, let's say, challenging times. And I think art and culture has or have now really a vital role in bringing us closer together instead of, creating walls or building walls. So thanks again, Stephen. You are a dedicated and a real European. Thank you for doing this project with us. We are very excited to see what our artists have created for us. Thanks to Stephen and thanks to the artist, and thank you for being here tonight with us. And I hand over to Stephen. Thank you.
The fist knocks the woman senseless against the railing. She has left the last of the cottages far behind now. The children's babble told clearly of how wonderful life is if you let circumstances pull the wool over your eyes. With eyes wide open, the woman always has to go walking on other paths. She's always been squeezed from the tube of her house into the open. Quite often she's gone astray. She's lost her way a time or two and ended up at the police station, where the officers opened their arms wide and welcomed her in, offering a place to rest. The poor folk who spend too long at the pub get a different welcome. Now Gertie is silent, amid the elements, which soon will lie wide open beneath the stars. The child who has been singled by fate as her surviving next of kin is boisterously tobogganing down the tracks left by others, shooting a breeze of his own creation. Those who have some notion of what's what prefer not to cross his path, not to cross him. The director approves of everything his wife does, and she puts up with his ever-ready meat battery. Slotted home to light up her health, he seems almost amazed to find his natural fertilizer enriching her well-ploughed field time and time again. To have his load crash time after time upon the deck of her ship. From her sleeves, in alarm, come intermittent piano music, only to fade and die again. The children don't understand a thing, except that their bellies are being stroked and their tender inner thighs. These unmusical creatures have not learned any foreign languages. From the corners of their bored eyes, they glimpse the outside, where they can idle their time away undisturbed. The director is on his way back from the heavenly choir where their fathers idled their time away disturbed, and the thunderous god's fingertips cling tight to the strawberries that have already started to ripen in their cold, hard beds. So that is from Lust by Elfriede Jelinek. And initially my thought for this evening, because I often perform at things that I curate, was to recreate Lust in this room. And then it occurred to me that that would be messy as well as disturbing. And also curating the event and creating mess, that would be inappropriate and awkward. But then that seemed to me to be particularly appropriate for a celebration of Jelinek. And in the end I decided against it. So you're all safe. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction. I've never been so beautifully introduced in my life. You made me blush. Internally. So, the notion of Illuminations is that 5 people, artists, were asked to respond to the work of Jelinek, but in an oblique way, in an ambiguous way, not to create sentiment around an author whose very aesthetic in essence is to resist such things. So there has been no curatorial overview on the way they responded to her life, oeuvre, or her novels. We have 5. We'll begin with Jen Kaleha, who will be followed by Patrick Coyle, followed by David Rickard, followed by Esther Strauss, and finishing with Hannah Silver. Thanks again for coming. It's lovely to see you here in this beautiful, slightly perverse bourgeois room. Hopefully we can ruin it in a good way. Yeah, it's my pleasure to introduce first, a round of applause please for Jen Kaleha.